Thank you, Leo. I can remember the very first day I walked into Channel 10, and Lee mentioned it a little bit there. There were about 6 to 8 people or more, and they were typing on manual typewriters. And I've come from Las Vegas, right? That was my old station, and we had at least electric typewriters. But we walked in, manual typewriters, there was a UPI teletype machine with the bells going off. The yellow paper, I remember, was all over the floor. The scanners were going off on the desk, and it was music. It was absolute music. And in the newsroom were the likes of Joe McMahon, Adrian Alpert, Jack White, Mitch Duncan, Paul Majors, Mike Ambrose, legends in San Diego. And I said, I have arrived. But I arrived as a producer, which made me cross paths with Mike Biltusi, otherwise known as the Intimidator. I don't know. If you couldn't make a decision in the booth fast enough, he would make it for you. And this went on and on until I finally told him to shut the hell up, and we got along famously after that. But I always wanted to keep my hand in reporting, and one night, and this is when the news in San Diego, all the stations did 1 hour. Amazing. We only did 1 hour. And so at the end of the 5, I came out, and the newsroom's completely empty. It looked like a weekend. It was a ghost town. And we ran credits, if you remember credits. So when credits were rolling, I came out in the assignment desk, and there was an incident of a plane at Montgomery Field had gone down, and Jeff Freeman was the only guy left in the newsroom, our photographer. And in Jeff's style voice, let's go. So we got into Jeff's car, which was then a light blue Chevy Impala, the size of which had its own zip code. We ended up with Montgomery Field. We did a little story, and it was awesome. And then after that, I still wanted to keep my hand in and volunteered on weekends. And a couple of things happened to allow me to go full-time. One of which was a former weekend reporter who will remain nameless. There was a homicide, I believe it was, in North Park. And the victim was on the front lawn with a small hatchet in his back. I'm not making this up. And as the homicide team is going through it, and they're going through it, finally the obligatory news conference, and the homicide detective comes over, and our intrepid reporter, the first question out of his mouth in front of everybody, do you suspect foul play? And the homicide detective, you know, they always answer automatically. He just went, no, he fell on the hatchet 3 or 4 times. So we had an immediate vacancy after that, and another couple of vacancies after the aforementioned Bob Donnelly picked up a computer keyboard and decided it was a Frisbee and tossed it across the room. That, and we also bought Oprah Winfrey. And so that changed a number of the producer things around, and I got to go report full-time. And the first assignment was the '88 Super Bowl, which I just had a blast in San Diego doing. And through the years, we've covered a lot. The wildfires was with Richard Klein in Kuwait when the war started. There's a story related to that as well. Mike Inman and I got the assignment to go to Calgary for the Winter Olympics. That's when ABC had dominance on the Winter Olympics. And I said, there was an executive producer at the time by the name of Wayne Brown, kind of a little nebbish of a guy, but he said, you guys are going to Calgary. But great, but the only thing I own is a flannel shirt. He said, all right, we'll take care of it. Thank you, Wayne. He got the jacket, Sorel boots, the gloves, everything. But he would come back to haunt us by the end of the week. Because I told Mike, I said, we had about 10, 12 packages we had to turn. Let's get it all done by Thursday. We can have one day, Friday, where we can relax and go see the city. Well, we hustled and we hustled and we hustled, and finally on Thursday night we were all done, and we said, let's go celebrate. We went to a place, the avenue called Electric Avenue. It's like the gas lamp. And we couldn't buy a drink. And needless to say, we both were feeling our oats when then the phone rings on early Friday morning, and it's Wayne. They changed everything. You have to reshoot the promos. Now it's 10 degrees, and we are just an ice cream headache multiplied 1,000 times. I couldn't speak at all. Mike finally just locked the camera down and walked away. And I see this figure kind of walking up to us, hood over, glasses on, couldn't tell who it was, but was wearing an ABC jacket. Well, it turned out to be Bruce Jenner, because when he took off his glasses, his eyes were redder than ours. He was more hungover than we were. And David Villegas, I've dragged him to more Navy ships and submarines. We have probably done more catapult shots and arrested landings on aircraft carriers than most sailors other than pilots. And he went through it all. David never complained. Not much. But, you know, seasickness and everything, I've dragged him all over the ocean with the Navy, and I'm eternally grateful to him for that. But as Lee mentioned, I didn't come into Channel 10 as a reporter. I came as a producer. And when I finally started reporting, I had left a radio station in Palm Springs, and the then news director handed me a small camera at the TV station, handed me a small camera, and he said, well, you're going to have to go out and shoot and write and edit your own stories. Along comes Ed Quinn, 28 years later, and I get handed a camera and a laptop editor, and I'm still shooting, writing, and editing my own stories. So in 28 years at Channel 10, I haven't progressed one iota. Lauren, thank you for the nomination. It's indeed an honor, and thank you, everyone else. Thank you. Appreciate it.